This afternoon, the NPP, New Patriotic Party, launched its 2016 manifesto, which actually focuses on job creation. And among a host of areas the party spoke about in its manifesto are building a strong economy, trade and industry, energy, agric and industrialization, infrastructure, education, health, science and technology, and innovation, among a host of other things. What the party sought to do was to bring out the problems, what they call the challenges facing the economy, and they went ahead to now spell out how they seek to solve some of these problems. Tonight I have with me in the studio, to my immediate left, Mr. Kwame Jantoa, who is the Vice President of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC. He's also a member of the CPP. And then next to him, I have David Agbe. David Agbe is the President of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. And I have Obi Amwa, who is a regular member, MP for Equip himself. Gentlemen, welcome, and we apologize for not being able to start. So, Mr. Janto, I want to start with you because you are not MPP. I want to hear from you what you make of how the party delivered its promises of what it seeks to do when given the mandate to rule this country. How would you score them?
Good evening. Good evening to my fellow panelists.
Good evening.
Good evening to Ghanaians. I had the opportunity to watch it on television, and I must say I liked the way they kind of divided it in terms of other people coming to speak about parts of the manifesto. I think that was a good thing. Unfortunately, Professor Frimpong Boateng seemed as if he wasn't too well, so he couldn't deliver his part, which I think what he was going to deliver was
very critical. He was going to talk about science, technology, innovation, and environment.
But on the whole, I think they've done a good job. Now let's see whether they'll be able to implement it, because it's one thing talking and another thing actually implementing. I must say, sometimes it's difficult and challenging not being in power for quite some time and making the types of promises that we make in our manifesto. And I'll give you a typical example. When President Kufuor came in 2000, he didn't know that he was going to go HIPIC.
Yeah.
He didn't know. But when you look at his manifesto, he was, talking about things that brought prosperity, that would help the ordinary Ghanaian and all that. Is when he got in and he saw the level at which the country's finances were, he decided, no, we have to go HIPIC. So it is nice to hear all the things they are saying. Would they be able to actually do it when they come into power?
Critical. David, and what about you? What do you make of the presentation generally and the approach the party is adopting to solving our country's challenges?
Yes, Steve, thank you very much. To be moderate, I am not president, but I am the executive director for Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. And most of the civil society organizations across the world will use executive director rather than president. So I would like to
be moderate. Yes.
Yeah. Let me say that within this year, somewhere in April, we came out with a statement that suggests that we want to appeal to all the political parties to launch their manifesto as earlier as possible, so that the citizens could actually engage various political parties to understand exactly what they want to do for the benefit of this country. And so most of the political parties so far have launched their manifesto. And so today, I was on the ground at the NPP manifesto launch.
Were you invited?
I was not invited. Normally,
so you get crushed?
No, I mean, we've been attending most of the political parties' manifesto, and so we don't expect invitation. When they give us invitation, fine enough, but then we want to be on the ground all the time to monitor the political activities, and so that will give us some level of understanding, and to be able to communicate creatively and ensuring that you task the political parties to do a good job, you need to be on the field. So we were on the field there, and what we witnessed is quite encouraging, that they were able to actually catalog what they want to do for this country. And in terms of political communication, you need to be able to tell citizens what you want to do, what you can do, and then in terms of futuristics, what the party envisage to do. And so we listen to all of them. I mean, we pay particular attention to them, and I think that it is quite phenomenal that they launched their manifesto. And we want to read all the point that they've enumerated, and at the end of the day, we'll be able to make a good sense of exactly what's they've captured into the manifesto. But all in all, I could say that yes, they've done a good job. We were expecting that all the other people, key personalities within the political party, could be there. Somebody like Kojum Pieni, for instance, I couldn't see him there. Dr. Richard Danane, I could not see him there. And many of the people who contested with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, I mean, we were expecting that we could see some of those key figures that suggest that the party has a united front. They are fighting together. They want to make sure they rally behind the flag of the NPP. They rally behind the flag of the flag bearer. So we couldn't see those, people. So it gives us some kind of political impression that
let me hear from.
But I think that all in all, it was a good occasion.
Honorable Obiama, what David is saying, is it a problem for you? Why didn't we see the personalities he was mentioning at the launch? Does it show the MPP is not united?
Thank you and good evening to viewers and to our panelists here. Well, as far as the MPP is concerned, it was an open invitation. For instance, if you're a member of parliament, you're required to be there. If you're a former minister, former DC, once you're a member of the party, we're expected to be there. Even though, because of the setting, we're not hoping that everybody will go into that space.
Okay.
That's why some were waiting outside. But he was even talking about those who contested with Nana.
Alan Sherman was there.
Jogati was there. Osami Yao, Samawati, all those who contested, they were there. But if you didn't see one or two persons, it didn't mean that the party was driving them away, or they had deliberately decided not to turn up. Of course, if you're out of town, you're out of town. If you're indisposed, you're indisposed. But by and large, you could see the united front, everybody very happy and wishing that we push the agenda for the new direction that we are.
Right, Honorable Obiama, let me launch into some of the key areas that were raised. The Dr. Bawumia, for example, painted a pretty horrible situation about the state of the economy. He says that the NDC government is in total denial and that the economy is in trouble. You think the economy is in trouble for real?
Well, in the first place, what we tried to do was to offer solutions. We were not just going to lament and identify the problems without also offering solutions for the way forward. But what was striking, which apart from Dr. Bawumia, even Nana Akufo-Addo even said, was the fact that the president said, crisis, what crisis? As far as concerned, the economy is not in crisis. And that crisis is only in our eyes. And that is very profound. Because as far as I'm concerned, if you're looking at the indices, if you're looking at all the figures, definitely this economy is in crisis. If you're going to grow at 3.3%, the lowest since 1994, and you think it's okay, that means that your expectations are very low. And for us in Ghana, I don't think that from where we've reached, this is the kind of expectations that anybody would think that it's okay. So definitely, if you look at all the indices, your currency, your growth, even your huge debts, the kind of borrowing you are doing, the interest payments that you're making, everything that is slowing down your economy. After all, for almost 5 years, we were in darkness, which was affecting the manufacturing sector, which was affecting businesses, affecting employment. And indeed, because of even the so much emphasis on oil and gas, it has collapsed our Greek industry. And if you think this is not a nation in crisis, then it means that obviously your value, your aspirations and your expectations
are low,
are too low, below even mediocre. Because I mean, we have records to show, even within NDC's governance itself, first 4 years of NDC, the figures were there. And if you can jump as high as 11.2 growth, GDP growth, and then you come down to expecting 3.3, and it's not MPP saying it. The World Bank is saying it, IMF is saying it, SEPA is saying it. All the major institutions, they are zooming on the fact that we are not doing well.
So, I'll have to have you hold and come back to Mr. Kwame Jantua. In proffering solutions to the economic problems facing the country, the problems which were enumerated by Dr. Bawumia, and Honorable Obiamwa has mentioned quite a number of them. Dr. Bawumia said, which is captured in the NPP's highlights, that they will use a three-pronged approach. One, restoring macroeconomic stability. Two, shifting the focus of economic management from taxation to production, and then competent management of the economy. These three. Do you think that kind of focus is what we need to solve the economic challenges facing our country?
I think the first point of call for any new government coming in is to look at the debt situation of the country. At the present moment, Ghana's debt stands at 110 billion Ghana cedis. Percentage of that is foreign. We have debts coming up in the year 2020, 2023, 2024, 2025. How are we going to solve those debts? For me, that's the first point of call. Tell me how you're going to do it. Tell me how you're going to sort it out. If you're going to pull out taxation, and we don't know what area of the economy taxation is they're going to pull taxation out of. We don't know what areas.
You think the NPP does not know which areas it will be?
I haven't heard, not unless Obi can tell me. I haven't heard that Obi can tell me. Because taxation is the basic fundamental place where government gets its revenue from.
But the NPP is promising to reduce corporate tax from the rate of 25 to 20%, remove import duties on raw materials and machinery for production, abolishing special import levy, abolishing 17.5 VAT on imported medicines not produced in this country.
I hope they are not robbing Peter to pay Paul. I hope that is not what they're doing. Because once you start cutting these taxes from these areas, it's going to affect another part of the economy. And I must say, Manifesto is a batch of intentions and ideas for a political party. It's when you get into power that you realize that maybe some of the things in your manifesto will not pass because of the state of the economy. And this is where I keep saying that we are looking to build a nation. That is the number one thing we should look at. We are looking to build a nation. Because we are looking to build a nation, we should make sure that any party in power should be able to share whatever it is with the opposition, so that when we come to elections, we are given focused ideas, not ideas that are high up in the sky and we come and we can't do it. That is where the people now question. You said you do A, you said you do B, why haven't you done it? And probably it's because we haven't been able to do it because of what we came to meet. You see, the challenge we have with the NDC government is the fact that it was from one NDC government to another NDC government. So some of the things that happened within the first 4 years of President later Tamils, when new NDC came in, it wasn't exposed, it wasn't brought out. The kind of monies we went for, the kind of loans we went for wasn't exposed. If it so happened that another party had come into power, definitely it would have come to the surface to be able to identify what the challenges were in the Mills administration. However, that didn't come up. And it looks as if that is now coming to bite us down the road. Because one of the worst performing ministries you can even think of is the agriculture sector. It's the worst. And I say that because I'm at the NDPC. During our consultations with the MMDAs and the MDAs, when we got to the Ministry of Agriculture set, some of the things they told us, you could see that agriculture was on its knees. It's on its knees. And I would hope that when any political party comes in, even if it's the NDC who come back into power, they have to be transparent and open with Ghanaians as to where the actual economy is. Because look, President Mahama is saying, what crisis? The people of Ghana are saying, there is a crisis. International bodies are saying, there is a crisis. What is he standing on to say that there's no crisis in our economy? There is something that is not fitting right in the economy. Something not fitting right. Because, look, you cannot, and I keep saying this, you cannot run an economy on debt. Using debt to pay debt. You cannot run an economy that way. So if that is the only thing, there is a crisis there. We need a strong economy. A strong economy that would hold the shocks of international repercussions. And most of the challenges we've seen come from international repercussions. Drop in the oil price. Now, I would say that has been the fault of the NDC government. Why would I say that? Because it looked as if the oil revenue became the central focus of all Ghana's revenue.
And shifted attention
Yes,
from agriculture
yes.
and
And it's only
our other
it's only
exports.
5% of government's total revenue. Only 5%.
So
and it's one oil field. If it were a number of oil fields, then I'll say yes, one oil field. And we had to change a budget because of that. And, we have to have a situation where we need to look at that 70% of the consolidated fund that we are putting the oil revenue in. We need to look at the stabilization fund, how we are using it. We need to look at how we are going to bring agriculture back to the surface, because majority of our people.
So you speak as if all the approaches the NPP promised to adopt in its manifesto won't actually solve our country's problems.
They need to come into power to see whether they can implement it.
David, do you think that the prescription to our economic problems as captured in the NPP's manifesto highlights today is exactly what will take us there?
We hope so. We hope so. I think that the manifesto, we need to take time to be able to read
and break it down.
Yes, and then be able to exactly.
You mean we shouldn't rush it?
No,
especially in an era where everybody's crying, stealing of ideas.
Yes, we should be a bit cautious.
But the thing is, do we have the time to do that?
I think so.
We have 2 months to elections. Do we have the time to actually interrogate it the way we
should
need
be
to?
able.
Which is why we were calling that the political parties launch their manifestos earlier on, so that the citizens could actually engage them and be able to understand certain things. But they thought that they can do their own thing. So at the right time of the political party, they can, launch their manifesto. But as much as we believe that we all are going into democratic system of governance, these are some of the things that we need to ensure that we engage the citizens. The citizens need to be part and parcel of whatever that we do. The citizen needs to have a sense of belonging to, the manifesto. And manifesto, very, very important in political, discourse.
So if we don't have the time to analyze the manifestos, then the political parties will get away with anything.
Oh yes, that is why they are not actually respecting citizens. If they actually respect citizens and they want to do what will enhance, citizens, participation in their governance, style, by now they would have launched it long ago, and then the media houses will, interview practitioners, professionals, to be able to diagnose and see, do we have, a solution to Ghana's problem being crafted by NPP, NDC, and all other political parties?
Whether they will work
at the end of the day, yes, exactly. But then let's focus on the NPP. Now, if you read what we have now, Lawyer Jantua is talking about the oil, revenue management. Some of us are not focusing on the revenue management. We are focusing on the type of contract that we are signing with, our foreign partners, the contractors who are in the country trying to help us, boom the oil.
That is shifting the discussion.
We are not
from
shifting.
The NPP's
no,
manifesto.
the MPP have, put into their manifesto what they will do in terms of the natural resource management. Okay. And we are talking about the fact that he was talking about the economic mismanagement and then the crisis in economy. What are we going to use to enhance the economic fortunes of this country? It is the natural resources. So if we are not managing the natural resources very well, where are we going? Everybody is talking about the fact that the economy is in shambles here and there. What are the indicators? What are we going to use to be able to enhance the chances of this economy so that everybody will have that sense of belonging? And so when we have been talking about the fact that the type of oil contract that we've signed so far are not helpful to Ghanaians. We were talking about the fact that
you have always said they are not transparent.
Exactly. And apart from the transparency, we have been arguing that the oil sector, we need to sign a proper contract that will be able to enhance this country. And we've been arguing about the fact that we need to share the contract. If they are coming to help us discover
when you say share contract, you mean there should be enough local content?
Production. We are talking about production sharing agreement, and so far it is only the CPP flag bearer, Von Green Street, that we've heard him. Spoke to that issue very, very well. From 2010 that we started the production of oil. So far, how much have we benefited? Almost about 3 billion. Based on our calculation, we thought that if we had signed a proper contract, Ghana should have earned almost about 9 billion now. And so we are signing contract which is hybrid system, which is not helping, us to get much benefit. So we're expecting that the NPP will be able to put something into their manifesto to more like revolutionize the oil sector. But we are not saying they are all just, they all have interest. NPP has an interest, NDC has an interest. So CPP they are all trying to dodge here and there. They are not trying to focus on what they can do so that they will sign a proper contract that will give us some kind of energy. And so we have so many things in the various manifestos that we need to actually work on.
That Mr. Jantua and David Agbe have raised.
Well, in the first place, I can forgive my colleagues because we
launched Thursday. We don't have.
Yeah, we just launched the manifesto.
Yes. So
maybe they haven't taken the trouble to go through in detail. So some of the issues they may raise, they're already catered for in the manifesto. Number two, even that issue of why are we now bringing it? Even before we formalize this, our flag bearer, our running mate, key persons in the party have been giving us snippets of what we intend to do when we come to power. It's not today that people are talking about one factory, one district.
And it's not today that people are hearing one constituency, $1
million per annum. And then critical things about how we're going to build the economy. Dr. Baumia, series of engagements. Yes, to tell us.
There are also those who have been raising questions of you announcing several tax cuts. I read some of them. Yes. You said that you're going to shift the focus of economic management from taxation to production. And in doing that, you're going to cut some taxes.
Yes.
You are going
to
remove import duties on raw materials and machinery for production, abolish the special import levy, abolish the 5% VAT on real estate sales. You're abolishing everything. You're cutting down taxes.
That's what I'm saying.
Where is the money going to come from then to execute some of the
I'm saying that if we take the trouble to,
for example, the $1 million constituency, where are you going to get it from?
That's what I'm saying. That if we take the trouble to go through what we've put down, we will not be jumping from one place to the other. For instance, he was even talking about oil, and then we have put in the fact that we will improve transparency in the management of our oil and gas resources, and then we've also even talked about reviewing the Petroleum Management Act to reflect some of these things. So some of the issues we've raised, they're already covered here. If
you think that alone can provide the finances we need to drive the
no, I'm just drawing his attention to the fact that some of the issues you raise, if you take the trouble to read, they are captured there. When it comes to our economic policy direction, we have listed 4 major areas. You mentioned 3 and left
yes,
1.
There was 1, yeah.
Yes. The 4, restore macroeconomic stability. Shift the focus of economic management from taxation to production.
And the 4 is a government machinery that works.
Yes. And on the 4, we've broken them down. For instance, if you're restoring macroeconomic stability, we are talking about monetary discipline, fiscal discipline, and financial stability. And we are going to ensure that we even make the laws to reflect this. For instance, fiscal responsibility law. What would it bring? Comprehensiveness, accountability, transparency, and stability. We go on and on so that for the first one that we talked about, restoring macroeconomic stability, we've broken it down. Now, if you go to shifting focus of economic management from taxation to production, that is where all these taxes, we believe that if you remove some of these taxes, you rather be improving production, increasing production, and then you'll be able to get more revenue from it. Don't forget that if you look at our economy, it's a formal sector only about 12%, informal sector 88%. Are you going to let it stay like that? Or are we going to make sure that you formalize?
You also promised that you will formalize the economy by using a national database.
Yes,
how is that expected to work?
First year, for instance, the average person, if I take my personal situation, most of the time it's my wife who manages the house. So you hear a plumber coming in, electrician coming in, whoever is coming in. Person works there and then his pay is gone.
It's gone.
What's the tax chain? What's the tax chain? So assuming that in a day he goes to about 10 or 15 premises.
He gets more than somebody who gets in a month.
Certainly, but have you formalized it? Or is just that he's just in the system? If he's going to pay just a small part of what he earns, you're bringing him to the formal sector. And then you say that you are broadening the tax base and then you're increasing the tax revenue, than just to say that I need more tax. At the small 12% that I've been taxing, let me impose more tax on them.
You're smiling. You think there is a better alternative?
No. If you don't formalize the economy, that's why we're saying that for the first year,
the NPP is raising.
That's why the first year you need a database. For the first year, apart from national identification, making sure that we all have identification, you also need a database for you to know that indeed this is the way to go. No economy can survive the way we are running our economy. That just a few teachers, a few public servants, MPs, those who are in the formal sector, every month you pay them, you take their tax, and then you look at consumption. If you're going to buy this, impose VAT on it. Going to buy this, impose VAT on it. Going to import this, impose VAT. And then once you're able to do that, you have your revenue. It cannot work that way. And if you do this, you are stifling production. That's why I say that encourage production by lifting some of these things. And then once the production booms, your revenue will come up. Yes,
it's as simple as
simple,
that.
Not as simple as that, but it's all a matter of the various ways you want to run the economy. Our friends in the NDC, I mean, they've never. Sometimes we think that they suffer from identity crisis. Are they statist-oriented government or liberal? We have started ourselves from day one that we believe in market economy, and that is how you should run the economy. And we did it for 8 years, and we thought we did very well. NEC comes in, one point they will tell you they are socialist. This is how they want it run. Another point, they want to be pseudo-capitalist, and they don't even know how to run it. And then you suffer this kind of thing. What indeed do they want to do when it comes to running the economy? Is it just touch here, without any focus, without any agenda-driven situation? Then we can then interrogate it. Otherwise, you end up with this kind of situation where at one point you depend so much on state-run institutions, and you end up even running them down. Then another point, you want to be liberal, market-oriented, but you don't even know how to go about it. And then you jump to IMF, and the IMF tells you the solution is tax and spend. Remove subsidies from everything, and then you are stuck, including even removing subsidies on agricultural inputs and products. That is a. If we take the trouble to read this is one of the. My last point. I've been in this party from day one. Thankfully, I've been in this party from day one. This thing I'm wearing is one of the original things that we did in 1992. I have gone through every manifesto, and I think this one
is the best you've brought.
It's very comprehensive, very, very comprehensive, and very appreciable. Very impressive.
You're short of words.
Very impressive, and I wish the CPP will also bring theirs so that we really look at it. Because it's a market of ideas. If they still believe in the leftist way of running the state, let's see how they do it. If we believe in the market economy, and this is how we put it across, maybe we can even borrow some things from them.
Mr. Dantua, let me quickly hear you.
Some of these ideas.
We're already running out of time.
The most important thing for any government that comes into power, including my own, the fiscal discipline.
Yes.
Not fiscal discipline only in the economy, but in everything
every
else.
Aspect
and so the thing that can bring fiscal discipline in is to be able to enforce the laws that have come out.
Yeah. So you would recommend that the NPP should be starting from enforcing the existing legislation.
Even if it affects your own people in power, in the ministries, let's see that you are bringing them to book. Let's see that. Because once you come into power as a president, you are in power for the whole country and not for the political party itself. What has happened with the NDC is that there has been a dichotomy between the country and the party. And it looks as if the party comes first before the country.
The party always wins.
Yes, the party always wins. And we cannot take that anymore. So if the NPP are telling me that what they are bringing out, they are bringing new laws, I want to see them enforce those laws. Because in my party, we would enforce those laws irrespective of who you are in the country. Irrespective. If you are supposed to do certain things and you are not doing it, and you have to be given the sack, be given the sack, because it brings all of us down, not one person.
David, I know that you sat through, you also listened to the NDC's manifesto launch and the approach they use. Compare that to the NPP. The NDC launched its highlights separately and then later followed with a full manifesto. we will compare the two approaches. Do you think both of them, both the two leading political parties we have actually indicated rightly what they want to do and to the problems of this country when given the mandate?
Yes, Steve. I must say I was also at the NDC manifesto launch at Sunyani. So we've also listened to NDC, and if you listen to them very well, I think that they were able to tell Ghanaians what they've done, which I earlier on said that, I mean, political communication, what you need to do is to tell
what you've done,
yes,
and then where you fall short, where you
what you have done, what you are doing, and then what you are intend to do in that futuristic manner. And so NDC people have told all of us that they've used the resources of this country in terms of coming from all kinds of taxes here and there. They've used it to build a lot of infrastructure, which, I mean, it is evidence that we've been going around across the country. And I could say, yes, there is that level of evidence that they've used some of the resources to build state infrastructure.
But the NPP says they could have done more.
You could mention, you know, hospitals, you could mention road infrastructure, you could mention, I mean,
right,
educational
I have just about a minute to go because we didn't start.
Yes, I agree that we are all expecting them to do more, because in nation building, one of the key things that we always look out for is development. And politics is about development. So any political party that is not yearning for the development of its citizens, it is not well, you know, supporting that political party. So every political party needs to focus on how he can ensure that its citizens benefit from the natural resources that we
I'll have to give the
so I think that it is good that we support all the political parties that is yearning to ensure that this country actually develop in terms of infrastructure, so that we can see that, yes, the country is actually moving forward rather than being in stagnation.
Right,
so it is good that we support all the political parties.
We have under a minute. I need to find out from you why Ghanaians should give the NPP the mandate and not the NDC.
To speak sector by sector. But as I've said, this is a manifesto of solutions. We've identified the major issues confronting this nation. We are providing solutions for every sector: economy, employment, energy, agriculture, health, everything that you can think of. Youth and sports, everything that will move this nation forward. That's why we're seeing that it's an agenda for change, which agenda will provide equal opportunity and prosperity for all. And I believe that as we move on, the next 59 or so days ahead of us, we'll convince the whole world that this is the best document, and we are the best people to implement this document to move Ghana far forward than where we are now.
I must say that this program is supported by Star Ghana, and we're grateful that they support our election headquarters programming. So, Mr. Jantwa, we're still here again. We've heard another manifesto. We're expecting to hear the CPP's manifesto, the detailed manifesto. But moving forward, do you think that we should still be taking the manifestos serious? Because you have been saying that until they come into power and they enforce some of what are captured in the manifestos, they're just wish lists.
Well,
anyway,
I would give a typical example of the last, since 92. Once parties come into power, do you hear anything about the manifestos? Do they even refer to the manifestos? They only refer to their manifestos when they are coming nearer elections. And so, this document that we call manifestos, do they help the Ghanaian? And let me say, the NPP are concentrating on employment. What about the other sectors of the economy? The hospitals, the roads, all those types of things. Because employment is key, yes, but it's not everything. And let's face it, where oil and gas is concerned, is the building of capacity of Ghanaians. That is what would make the oil industry what it is today. And if we are not building capacity within our own Ghanaians, how do we take over? We won't be able to take over. Now we are thinking of onshore.
Yes, please. Just one word here. Associated Oil Capacity Development Program. You falls under what you're saying. So please, that's what I'm saying. When you take the trouble to read
that one, is not comprehensive enough. But I want to say that Mr. Jantwa's views that political party manifestos, I mean, for us, political party manifestos are very, very important.
They're not just
I'm not saying they're not important, but you did refer to them once they come into power.
I think certainly, as much as they are political party, they need to respect their own political party manifesto. And so in political discourse, and any political party, your manifesto serves as a marketing document for all of us. I mean, I have an interest in NPP manifesto, I have an interest in NDC manifesto, I have an interest in all the political parties manifesto, because when I pick the manifesto,
for now,
I want, yes,
for now, going into the future,
manifesto has been the hottest argument in political science as far back 1848 that, I mean, people started propounding theories of political party manifesto here and there. I think that it has been the important document that citizens always want to measure their political party. So if you pick the NDC manifesto, 2012 for instance, you will be able to tell exactly what they said they were going to do. If you pick NPP manifesto from 2001, you'll be able to understand where
I understand every year.
So
I understand all that.
Yeah.
You sure
midway of a government.
Yes.
Midway of a government.
Yes.
Even when you come on media discussions,
yes,
who refers to the manifesto?
I mean, that is why
we produce so far so very good out of our manifesto.
Let's hope that we just can see this manifesto right through.
It's also
yes.
But Steve, let me caution MPP, and for that matter, my senior Mr. Obi Amwa. I think that
I'm afraid that we need to
Dr. Baumier's view of ensuring that they cut down all kinds of taxes. They need to be very careful. In a sense that, I mean, it is taxes. Taxes are even in Bible. And so if you are even a good citizen, you are supposed to pay tax.
Right,
and so if you want to form a government and you are telling us that you are going to cut all this taxes,
being eye on the seat. Gentlemen, thanks very much. This has been Eye on the Seat. My name is Stephen N.